spent the last 22 years, it's crazy to say that, helping families navigate the SAT, ACT process, just trying to help everybody go through the process as efficiently as possible, both from a financial perspective, also from a time perspective, which of course is the most valuable thing we all have. So just a little bit more about me. In this sort of crazy time that we're all going through together, I just wanted to make it a little bit personal. Like many of you out there, my wife and I are struggling with working from home full time and also homeschooling, or I should say, taking advantage of the remote learning plan that the school has provided. So here's just one shot of, bear with me one second, one shot of my son and I. And also here's a shot of my wife and my daughter. So yeah, it's been a fun couple of weeks with everybody home, but we're getting through it, like I'm sure all of you are, and have taken some positives out of it. So let's jump right in. It's important for you all to know, not only have I helped families for many years and have worked with many schools, not just families, but schools as well, but myself and many of my colleagues have actually taken the SAT and ACT many times as we've been helping students. I had written an article about my experience taking the SAT. Our local newspaper, Newsday, published the article. They titled it "Old Guy Takes the SAT." And if you Google Newsday, "Old Guy Takes the SAT," you'll get a chuckle out of my experience sitting and taking the exam as an older person. And it just reminded me of a lot of things. And just to, I guess, spoiler alert, just to give one sort of headline to the experience, it just reminded me how stressful and anxiety ridden. I was so nervous the day my scores came out. My wife was laughing at me. She was like, "Oh, you're such a nerd. What do you care what you scored on the SAT? We've got two little kids." And of course, my scores didn't matter at all. But again, my heart was still racing the day the scores came out. So, and people say to me, "Well, how do you help students deal with that?" And of course, the answer is practice and repetition. I was less nervous because I knew exactly what to expect on the test. These are very repetitive, very redundant tests. Because they're repetitive and redundant, you can prepare for them and you can score higher on them, and you can make a significant improvement in your score even with just a few hours of practice. So there's an easy way to reduce anxiety, and that is to simply practice a couple of questions. I'm not asking students to move mountains. I'm not unrealistic. Put in a few minutes a day, it'll make a big difference. And just a little bit more about method test prep. We're very passionate. We're very passionate that every student can score higher on the SAT and ACT. A few questions can make a big difference. We're very knowledgeable. We have a lot of experience. And I shared this someday at test prep time, but just again, to reset everybody, make sure we're all on the same page. The reason we all care is higher SAT, ACT scores, you will get accepted to more colleges. Nobody wants to apply to a college and get a rejection. And you will earn more academic money or more academic merit aid. Okay, so let's hop in. So first frequently asked question that we get, true or false, the ACT science section, does it test students on science knowledge? And the answer is false. The ACT science section is essentially a reading comprehension section. And that's very important for people to realize because we have so many students who are intimidated by the ACT science section. Students who don't feel like science is their strong suit, maybe they feel like English is one of their stronger suits. I want those students to go into the ACT with a chip on their shoulder. I want them to go in realizing that they can ace the ACT science section because the ACT gives you a chart, table, a graph, a couple of paragraphs, and then you have to answer questions based on that information. So you don't need very much science knowledge. You just need to be a strong reader. And when students realize that, it completely changes their attitude about this section. It improves their confidence, improves their motivation. It makes them more optimistic that they can do well on this section. Okay, so let's jump into the next question. So, excluding the optional essay section, how many sections are on the SAT, how many on the ACT? And when I give this presentation, whether it's in person or online, I often say grab a piece of paper, grab a pen or pencil, or if you want to just jot notes into your phone, because there's an important takeaway from this question, this slide. The answer is, excluding the optional essay, there are 4 sections on the SAT and 4 sections on the ACT. But there's a big difference. 2 of the sections on the SAT are math sections, while only 1 of the 4 sections on the ACT is a math section. So 50% of your SAT score comes down to your math ability, whereas only 25% of your ACT score comes down to your math ability. That's a huge difference percentage-wise, obviously. So for students who are very comfortable in math, and maybe more comfortable in math than they are in English, you may want to seriously look at or favor the SAT, because you know half of your score is going to come down to those math sections, which you know you can do well on. On the other hand, if you feel like you're stronger in English than you are in math, you may score higher on the ACT, because fully 75% of your ACT is going to come down to your verbal ability. So just something to keep in mind. For those of you who are on with me live right now, or just watching this recording, who kind of know I do need to remind people of some of the high level stuff, the headline stuff, because we at Method Test Prep, we can get very into the weeds. And just as an example, in a couple hours at 1 p.m., my colleague Evan is going to be teaching an SAT reading class. And I'll give you some more information about that in a second. And he's going to get more into the weeds as far as specific reading strategies. But sometimes we have to pull back and just remind ourselves, hey, if you're stronger in math, the SAT might be for you. You might have a better time scoring higher. If you're stronger in English, the ACT might be the better fit, because 3 of the 4 sections are going to come down to your English ability. Okay. So next question, SAT versus ACT. On which test do you have more time per question? So the answer is on the SAT, you have more time per question. Now, people say, oh, so that means on the SAT, I'm going to have plenty of time to finish? No. Both tests are difficult to finish in time. That's one of the big challenges, right? We have so many students, I've had so many students over the last 22 years say to me, it wasn't that the questions were that hard, it was that I couldn't even get close to finishing in time. And so a big part of what we do is we teach students how to get through the sections more quickly, how to get through questions more efficiently, because often it's really just a timing test or a stamina or endurance, right? These are long exams. You have to build up your stamina and endurance. But again, let me go back to this question. On the SAT, you get more time per question. So the ACT, you have to approach it in a different way. And when I took the ACT, people say, hey, what was it like? I said, it was like rushing for 4 hours straight. I feel like I was just rushing. And people say, well, that sounds pretty awful. Why would I bother doing that? Because many of the questions were pretty straightforward. They did not take very long to answer. So you have to go in with a different mentality on the ACT, which is you're just going to fly through the questions. You're not going to double check. You're not going to second guess. You're going to quickly read it. You're going to put down your first instinct and you're going to move on. Because if you're double checking everything, you're not going to finish the sections in time. And I know that goes against a lot of what you all have learned about being a good student and being a good learner. I know my father taught me from very young, hey, if they give you 4 hours to take a test, use up the 4 hours, double check everything, triple check everything. On the ACT, you simply don't have the time to do that. So you're going to be rushing for the entire ACT. I always make a joke. I drank a huge cup of coffee the morning I took the ACT. Now, I don't even drink coffee, but I wanted to be in the zone concentration-wise. So I had a big cup of coffee. I'm not suggesting every student drinks a big cup of coffee. Maybe you drink some green tea with some caffeine in there, something healthy. But you can't lose your concentration on these exams, because if you do, you're going to end up omitting a lot of questions. Okay. Oh, and so just one obvious takeaway here: if you're one of those students who's a naturally fast worker, you should really consider the ACT. Remember, everybody, every college in the country accepts either one. There's a misconception that the elite colleges favor the SAT. It's simply not true. Every college in the country has a chart where they can compare your SAT versus your ACT. They don't have a preference. They're just going to put it into their chart. So again, don't think that the SAT is the favorite test. It's not. And if you're one of those naturally fast workers, you may want to consider the ACT. Of course, if you're a more methodical worker, you like to take your time, then you might favor the SAT. You might feel more comfortable on the SAT. And by the way, I just addressed quickly, because we're getting a lot of questions about quote unquote test optional schools, and especially this year with the health crisis we're going through, and some colleges are relaxing their requirements as far as the SAT, ACT goes, which I think is very appropriate. And again, we're all living in such uncertain times. It almost seems like we don't even know what the next day is going to bring. But do keep in mind that even when a school is test optional, if you submit SAT or ACT scores and those scores are strong, of course, that's going to give you a leg up. It's going to be another feather in your cap. And then also keep in mind that often different scholarship monies or different grants that are available either through the college or elsewhere depend on a certain SAT or ACT score, right? So it may not affect admissions, but it may affect amount of scholarship money. So just a couple of things to keep in mind. And by the way, I'm going to post later. It's very common that folks who are on this type of presentation with me have a question. They either want to email or call me. Please do. I'm going to put my email and my number up in a second. And even if it's just a quick question, you want to email me, I'll get right back to you. Okay. So, question we get all the time: should I take the optional essay section on the SAT or ACT? My answer to this question my thinking has changed over the years. For most of the last 10 years, I've said yes, absolutely. And I probably will still have my son and my daughter take the essay, or given everything I know right now, because so it's true that many colleges, most colleges, don't require or even look at the SAT or ACT essay, right? But some colleges still do. And so it would be a shame to want to apply to a college and you hadn't taken the essay, and then you have to go back and take the whole exam again just to satisfy that requirement. So what I would do, I would just suck it up, and once on the SAT, once on the ACT, I would just take the essay. The essay is at the end of the exam, so it's the least important part. I want students to use the least amount of their mental energy. They're going to use most of their energy on the exam itself, where you get a separate score for the exam. And then you're going to take a separate section at the end, the essay section. You do not have to write a special type of essay. Just do what you've learned in high school as far as being a good writer. You don't have to write some kind of special, format. Just do what you've learned in high school English classes, and you will be fine. And you will post a good score for the essay, and you will be done with it. You won't have to worry about which colleges require and which don't. So I addressed this on Wednesday, but it's so important. I'm going to talk about it quickly today. When are the best times to take the SAT and ACT? So at this moment, today is April 3rd, 2020. There is still going to be a June SAT, a June ACT. I absolutely would take those exams if I was an 11th grader or my son or daughter was an 11th grader. It's very likely they're going to offer additional exams this summer. There's going to be a tremendous amount of demand for these exams. Even in normal times, students have trouble sometimes taking the SAT and ACT because the test centers fill up. For 20 years now, we've been dealing with helping families. They want to take the SAT or ACT, but all the test centers near them have filled up, so they have to drive quite a ways. So one thing I would do for any 11th grade families out there, I would once every couple of days, maybe I would go to the College Board website, go to the ACT website. That's where you register for the exams. Check to see what options are available because it is first come, first serve as far as location, right? The sooner you register for an exam, the better the chance that you're going to get the closest site to you. And obviously, nobody wants to drive an additional distance to take the SAT or ACT. So going back to this question, if you're an 11th grader, I would definitely take the SAT and ACT in June. There's also a July ACT. There's an August SAT. There's a September ACT. There's an October SAT. You guys get the picture. There's many choices coming up. On the June ACT, they offer something called the TIR service. It stands for Test Information Release. That means you pay an additional fee. It's about $20. They send the entire test back to you so you can see which questions you're getting right and wrong, and you can analyze your mistakes. That is an incredible tool for improving on your next exam. The SAT offers the same service. They call theirs the question and answer service. Please jot that down if you're not aware. Question and answer service, you pay an extra, again, about $20. They send the entire test back to you so you can see what you're doing wrong, use that to improve. The SAT normally offers that in March and May. Since the May exam was canceled and the March exam was canceled in many places, I think it's very likely they're going to be offering this service either on the June SAT or one of the additional test exam dates they give over the summer. So we'll stay tuned for that and keep you posted. They definitely offer it on the October SAT, okay? And for those of you out there who are 10th graders right now or younger, as far as a plan for junior year, I would take the December ACT because the December ACT offers this TIR service, Test Information Release, and I would take the March SAT of my junior year, so March of next year. The reason for that is students typically score higher on the SAT in the spring of their junior year than they do in the fall of their junior year. And that's simply, obviously, because they've learned more in school. They also have more time to improve their vocabulary, their reading comprehension, etc. So those are some thoughts about best times. Again, if you have specific questions about your situation, please email me. My email will be up on a slide in a second. Okay, so I mentioned this earlier. Of course, all of us parents, my wife and I, all of my colleagues in Method Test Prep, we're all looking for ways to structure our kids' days. All of us want kids learning as much as possible during these weeks. And obviously we're looking for high quality stuff. So my colleague, Evan Wessler, he's an incredible teacher. He's very experienced. He's just one of those people who's amazing explaining things to high school students. So in about 2 hours, so 1 p.m. Eastern, he's going to be teaching a class, a reading strategies class. This class will help students for the SAT, the ACT, the PSAT. It will even help students just in any test that they have coming up. It's appropriate for 9th graders, 10th graders, even some advanced 7th and 8th graders will benefit from this class. It's only $10. We're trying to offer many different options for families. Again, like everybody, we're sensitive to the times going on right now. So I strongly encourage everybody to register for this class. Just going to learn a ton of information. Many of you are on our mailing lists. We sent out an email with the link about an hour ago. If you don't have the link, it's going to be posted on our Facebook page. So this is a class you will want to check out. Again, happening at 1 p.m. Eastern. We are teaching these classes every weekday, I should say, at 1 p.m. Eastern. Okay. I also wanted to talk about our self-paced program. And the first thing I want to share is many of you have access to this program already through your school. There are about 1,500 schools around the country that provide this program to all of their students. Nobody thinks it's fair that some families can afford prep, some families can't. Part of our mission at Method Test Prep, we want every student to have access to high quality test prep. So we created this program. It's very affordable for schools. So many schools have signed on. If you're not sure if your school provides this for you, again, please email me. I know I keep saying my email is simple. It's just Tom. So Tom, my first name, Tom at, and then the name of the program, methodtestprep.com. So go ahead and type it out right now if you'd like, Tom at methodtestprep.com. Just put the name of your high school in the subject line. I'll get back to you with whether your school already provides. If your school does not provide access to the program, no problem. We're offering 50% off right now, and that's good through when you graduate. So families, parents of 9th graders, 10th graders, if you purchase the program now, of course, use the code FUTURE, right? There's a discount code, a coupon code, just the word FUTURE. Type that into the coupon code field. Instead of $200, it's just $100. And that means you have access from now through graduation. Of course, some of you are wondering, okay, that sounds like a good deal. What is it? Go quickly through. What the program is we've created a checklist for students to follow. So you can see this is the home screen. It's not cluttered. It's not distracting. It's just simply follow the checklist. It's a series of 15-minute exercises. Students who follow this series of 15-minute tasks improve their SAT scores 150 points and improve their ACT scores 3 points. We have thousands and thousands of students who use this program every week. So we get a lot of data, we get a lot of feedback. We know this checklist is highly effective. We know it works. And I'm very realistic. Again, believe me, I'm sitting with my 5th grade son and daughter every day, sitting with them doing work. I know what's reasonable and what's not. You can't ask a student to spend 2 hours straight using an online program. And that's not how humans learn best anyway. You sit down, you work for 15 minutes, concentrate, you knock out a task, you get a check mark, and then maybe you take a break, you come back to it. But again, this checklist is highly effective. We know it works. We've known that for years now. Very simple way to score high on these exams and learn all of the grammar and math and reading you need for success in high school, college, and life. So people say, yeah, but what's in the checklist? The majority of the checklist are these lessons, and every lesson has an audio component. We all learn more effectively when we hear things out loud, right? So, and it's not an actor, it's not a robot, it's a teacher. So students are listening to a teacher go through this particular concept. The lessons are chock full of examples. It's how we all like to learn. We learn something, and then we see an example. We walk students through the most efficient way to solve that type of problem, and then we move on to a second example. There's no lesson that's more than 5 minutes long. Okay, believe me, I wouldn't want to sit and listen to 30-minute lessons either. We're not asking students to. Sit for 5 minutes, listen to the teacher. And the folks who have recorded these lessons are private SAT and ACT tutors. This is what they do for a living, and they're explaining it exactly like they would in a private tutoring session. So you're getting access to a private tutor 24/7. Once you listen to the lesson, of course, what makes sense at that point is to practice what you just learned. So here's a practice question. As soon as a student tries it, they get immediate feedback, which we all want, which we all expect these days. Again, it's how we all learn. You try something, you get immediate feedback. Those of you parents out there, remember how we all studied for the SAT or ACT with a 600-page book, right? You couldn't even find the answer key. If you couldn't even find the explanations. If you did find the explanations, of course, they were only written explanations because it was just a book, and they were hard even to understand. We're using technology to teach students in a more effective way. You get instant feedback, told if you're right or wrong, the correct answer, the answer you submitted, and then you're presented with an audio explanation, a video explanation, a written explanation. You can choose the explanation, or I should say the student can choose the explanation that's most helpful to them. For most of us, a video is the most helpful, right? If I'm struggling with something, I want to watch a video. The other day my wife said, hey, fix that handle on that screen door. I'm the least handy person in the world, but even I was able to go to YouTube, watch a video. I got the parts. I fixed the door handle, right? I felt like MacGyver for those of you old enough to remember that show. So it's how we all like to learn. Watch a simple, short video. So you can see this video is 1 minute and 14 seconds. We walk students through how to solve that type of question. For students who are shy, for students who have text anxiety, this is a really appropriate way to learn, right? They may not be comfortable raising their hand in class. They just want to hit pause or rewind or watch a second time. They can be at home in their sweatpants until they feel comfortable, right? Of course, they can use this from any device, a phone, a tablet, a laptop, any device connected to the internet. So that's the video explanations. As part of the program that I described, again, many of you have access through your schools. If you don't have access through your school, right now the program is just $99 if you use the coupon code FUTURE. We offer evaluation tests so that you can take a diagnostic for the SAT, a diagnostic for the ACT. You can get a sense of where you stand. We also offer full-length exams, right? So students can take a full-length SAT, a full-length ACT, actually 2 of each. That's, of course, important, as I mentioned earlier, as far as stamina goes, right? For a lot of kids, the toughest part of this exam is just concentrating for 4 hours straight. It's a grueling exam. So build up your stamina by taking these practice exams on method test prep. We also have a vocabulary component. Every single student I have ever worked with has said to me, I know I need to improve my vocabulary. Can you give me an easy way of improving my vocabulary? And so I show the students this so we have a feature, you just quiz yourself on words, and the program is keeping a personal word list for every student. So of course the game is to get more words into Words Mastered. We have a couple of rules as far as how you get words into Words Mastered. You have to get the word right multiple times. We keep asking you the word until you get it right 5 times in a row, which usually happens over the course of months, because we're sensitive to that whole thing where you memorize a list of words for a test and then you forget it a week later. We don't want that to happen. So the kids actually like this part of the program. It becomes like a game. You're trying to see how many words, you can get in Words Mastered. And then of course you can mouse over the words and you can see the word used in a sentence. You can see the definition. So that's the vocabulary builder aspect to the program. Really valuable part of the program. The stronger your vocabulary, of course, gives you an advantage throughout life. And if this is perfect to just do on a phone, right? Students have their phones 24/7. You can just sit on the couch and quiz yourself on words. So this is a really important feature which parents and students are very happy to hear about. The program actually shows you which concepts are giving you the most trouble, so you can focus your energy and attention on your areas of weakness. So this is called the scores by concept. You can see in the middle of the screen that's highlighted in blue. When you click on scores by concept, you can just sort. Here I sorted by strength, and it will sort the concepts based from your lowest areas to your highest areas. So this student can see that, okay, I'm a little bit below average on algebra questions, on word problem questions, on function questions, and then we have a feature called Quiz on Demand. It's under the Lessons and Quizzes tab, and you can quiz yourself, and in this sense, the program becomes infinite. You can just continue to get served questions in your areas of weakness, right? It becomes very personalized. The program becomes very individualized, and that's the most efficient way to improve. We also have Cram Packets in the program. Every student loves these because just like when a teacher says, hey, study this, it's going to be on the test tomorrow. And everybody goes home and studies that packet because the teacher's telling you what's going to be on the test the next day. We have the same things for the SAT and ACT. These are located in the resource materials section of the program. You might want to jot that down, resource materials. And when you click on resource materials, you can print these packets, you can study them, you can memorize them. We've had students go up 150 points just from memorizing these packets. I remember when I took the SAT, the old guy takes the SAT, I even brought these packets with me the morning of the test because typically you have to sit in like an auditorium of the testing center for a while as they're waiting for everybody to arrive. So for about an hour, I just sat there and I studied and I memorized these packets. Now I didn't cheat. I threw the packets away before they sent me to my classroom, but I had a massive advantage on the SAT and ACT. I was seeing questions that I had just studied the underlying concept. So I was getting questions right because I just studied what they were testing on, right? Every student should have the same massive advantage. You can just find these in the resource materials, print them up, study them, memorize them. Okay, I did want to mention one other service that we're providing, and that's been really popular these last couple weeks. So students want to take a full-length practice SAT with us where there's timed conditions, where we send back a report of which questions were right and wrong and the right answers. This can be taken at any time. So we had to post a day and a time here, ignore that. If you're interested in taking a full practice, either SAT or ACT with us, just again, you can go right to the Method Test Prep webpage. You can go to our centers, click on practice exams, and you can sign up right there. Again, if you have any questions, you can just email or call us, but it's very easy to sign up. It's a low cost and you take a full length exam. For a lot of students, this is the most valuable thing to do, is just sit and take practice exams. So any questions about that, you can reach out to us. Okay, and then here's the slide here. So I appreciate everybody's time. I know we stayed on a little bit longer than we typically do, but I hope that everybody on today, either live or watching this recording, took away some piece of knowledge, some nugget of information that they maybe weren't 100% sure of. But often these presentations do stir up questions. So please email me, tom@methodtestprep.com, or give us a call. You can see the number right there, 877-871-PREP, or just visit our website. Like many other organizations, we've made the website very easy to navigate. You can find all the different options we offer right there. So have a great rest of the day. Maybe what I'll do quickly is just scroll back to my colleague's Evan's class at 1 today. I would certainly consider this class. Again, you can find the class on the Facebook page, the link to the class, or just give us a call if you'd like to register. All right, have a good rest of the day, everybody.